Hello, everybody. Here on a Saturday night, Valentine's Day Eve. Welcome to the podcast, formerly known as 100 Yards of Podcast. Last week, if you had watched, I made a bold prediction. We're gonna see if that comes true throughout this year. That'll be a developing story. But I'm Omar as always, and with me is Marshall. You have any opening statements, Marshall?
I think maybe you should remind the people what you're referencing.
Yeah. So, if you at the time we're scheduled to drop a podcast you recorded last week, about just FCS teams having windows this year, which is it's sort of irrelevant now that the MEAC suspended their season. They only have 3 teams playing this spring, but one such team is the Bucknell Bison, alma mater of Christy Mathewson, the great pitcher for the New York Giants. But they have not reached a postseason game since 1935, and I made the prediction that the 1935 Orange Bowl to be exact. And I made the prediction that if the mighty Bison of Bucknell out of Lewiston, Pennsylvania, or is it Lewisburg, whatever, either one, if they make the FCS playoffs, then it looks like I will be due for a girlfriend. And the Patriot League season does not start till early March, so that'll be a developing story for you guys all to watch. And it's also a desperate plea for views and listens.
And a girlfriend.
And a girlfriend, maybe. Well, just a light at the end of the tunnel.
Bro, you're sitting there, it's like 11:11, and you're like, oh God, please, please.
Yeah. Bucknell will make the playoffs, but also, other stuff. Yeah, I mean, just kidding. I mean, I'm a Holy Cross fan at heart, but
Oh
if
my
there's a
God.
team,
Oh
I
my
grew up 10
God.
minutes away from Fitton Field. Okay, grew up watching Dominic Randolph. But if there's another team out of the Patriot League that I want to make the playoffs, it would be the Bucknell Bison. I'm just saying.
For your own bias.
Yeah, I mean, and just because of the drought, man. Come on, they're like the Cubs.
It's like Friday beers. They got the character Drought God.
I didn't think we'd hear a Friday Beers reference, but hey, I mean, it's a great account. Well, this week, we have a little debate for you. Something of much import here. New Mexico State, a school we've vaguely mentioned before, having a spring season. They have a nice small 3-game slate with one of their teams actually playing right now, the Tarleton State Texans. I haven't checked the score. It's their first game in FCS, but this
Oh, I thought
spring,
didn't you just win a little giveaway? A little
I
Tarleton
did.
giveaway?
I won a Tarleton State T-shirt from CFB Campus Store. Shout out to CFB Campus Store. I love what he's doing. That's like the type of thing that I would do. Just go around on the weekends driving to stadiums. I mean, as long as I'm single, that's what I'll do. Um, it, but yeah, no, I won a Tarleton State shirt, and hopefully they're winning because for another reason, Tarleton State having a successful year could make this one of New Mexico State's best seasons ever. And I'm gonna say if New Mexico State goes undefeated for the first time since 1960, this will be one of the greatest teams of all time. Do you have any thoughts on that, Marshall?
Yeah, I mean, I would completely disagree. I mean, going defeated, what are they playing there? So they're going to play Tarleton State. They're playing
Dixie
Highlands,
State, yeah,
right?
Dixie State and Highlands, yeah.
Dixie State and Highlands. I mean, it's like hard because it's like, we bash on the SEC so much for playing cupcakes, and it's like, I don't know, Alabama, playing some of these cupcakes versus New Mexico State playing some cupcakes. It's could be pretty balanced. Wait a second, what are we talking about? One of the greatest teams of all time? Are you joking right now? Are you joking, dude? Like, what are you? Like, it's like, think about it this way. Like, what was it, like 2-3 years ago? What was it? New Mexico State made their first bowl game in like 100 years or something, like just ridiculous.
Well, hey, it was only 57 years, and it
Oh
was
my! But wasn't it
2017.
the longest drought of like all of college football?
Yeah, yes, it was. It was.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, so you're gonna tell me a team going 3-0 beating Highlands, Tarleton State, and Dixie State. They're not even the best New Mexico State team of all time. That New Mexico State team that went to that bowl game would be better, let alone like any other team in the whole FBS. Like, you know what? If you did UMass versus New Mexico State, UMass might win. UMass is bottom of the slate in every single stat category, but you know what? They might beat New Mexico State just because that's how garbage they are. And you're gonna sit here and tell me they're the best team of all time? Bro, I feel like Stephen A right now. Like it's just like, dude, how could you even say that?
All right, yeah, I'm not gonna pull out Max Kellerman type argument where it's like with the Martian. If we got a game between the best New Mexico State teams of all time, the 2017 Aggies or the 2021 Aggies, I want the 2021 Aggie. No, I'm not gonna go there.
I
It's not
want
coming that dumb in there.
Iguodala.
That lives rent free in my head. It lives
Oh
rent
my
free in my head.
god.
But you know, Marshall, if you watch Sunday Night Football, do you remember Kornacki?
No, I don't remember
The guy.
Kornacki.
Oh no. He's a guy at halftime that does like that did the playoff scenarios, and he's like going down the line with the percentages. Well, I'm about to go Kornacki right now on why this could be one of the most important or the greatest New Mexico
Oh,
State teams.
please
So New
enlighten us
Mexico
with your
State,
well thought out argument that I'm sure you've put hours and hours of meaning into. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
maybe like 1 or 2 hours, but so New Mexico State has only beaten three teams with winning records, or three teams with winning records in a season. Um, three times since 1967. 1967, 1999, when they beat a ranked Arizona State team that year who went to the Aloha Bowl
Oh
and lost to
my
Wake Forest.
god.
Sorry, I just thought I'd throw
Oh
that
my
in
god.
there. And then
Hey,
19 and
those
2004.
demon deacons, okay? You're not gonna sit here and tell me that the late '90s demon deacons were not an absolute team of destiny, okay?
No. Well, actually, I meant to say two teams with winning records in a year, so that's like setting the bar even lower. And then 2004, Troy and FAU. And FAU their first year in FBS, and Troy the Silicon Valley Bowl or Silicon Valley Classic. They appeared in that one. In 2017, Marshall, how many teams with winning records did the Aggies beat?
I mean, it's gonna have to be 1 or 0.
Zero. Yeah, they
Oh
beat
my
none.
god.
So I'm gonna share my screen really quick, and this is when I go full Kornacki right here. All right, so right now you're looking at the scenarios here, and things are kind of complicated. So let's start with Tarleton State. Tarleton State last year went 11-1 and made they made the FCS or the Division II playoffs, lost in the first round. So the most likely scenario I have here is them losing tonight against McNeese State. I can do a quick score check to see if that's true. And then losing to New Mexico State and splitting the season series with Dixie State. That's what kind of complicates things for this stat that we're looking at here. So, but if they split the season series and lose to all FCS opponents, FCS/FBS opponents, they're still at 5-3 because they play some all right D2 schools. But again, this team went 11-1 last year in Division II. Another likely scenario is them going for 500, which isn't bad if the Aggies, beat a 500 team and another 500 team. I mean, that wouldn't be too bad. That involves them losing both games to Dixie State and to New Mexico State and McNeese tonight. The best scenario that would beef up the Aggies' resume is them going 6-2, either losing to Dixie State and New Mexico State and beating McNeese, or losing to New Mexico State and McNeese State tonight and beating Dixie State in both games. So that's a huge resume win right there. A 6-2 or a 5-3 Tarleton State team. That's one team with a winning record. Dixie State, they're gonna need some help though. Here's the thing. Because of this season series, this two game series, a home and home against Tarleton State, it's best if they split it, because if they split it, they still have a shot at going 4-2, or 3-3. That looks like the most likely scenario. Actually, the most likely is the 2-4, but we don't want that. We want them to go either 3-3, but mostly we want them to go 4-2. Well, what would beef up Dixie State's resume is they have a road game against Kennesaw State, who won 10 games, I believe, out of the Big South and made the FCS playoffs and had a little run there. If they beat an FCS playoff team and go 4-2, that's another resume win for the Aggies. And then I'm not going to go into New Mexico Highlands. I think they have one game scheduled against Dixie State, but again, they're a Division II team, so I'm not going to really talk about that much. And that was my little Kornacki there. But and then just look at some of the teams that Tarleton State's playing in this year. Let's see. So they got Mississippi College, who went 5-5 in D2, a solid Division II team. I mean, that could be a good win for Tarleton State. Beef up the mathematics. Midwestern State, they could have a winning record by the time they come in to play Tarleton State, because they also play, by the end of the spring season, because they also play 2-9 A&M Kingsville and 4-7 UT Permian Basin. Northeast State, a team that last year gave up 65 points a game and averaged only 9.7, could have a turnaround year before they play Tarleton State, as they
what
play
do you
1-10
mean a
Southeast
turnaround
Oklahoma.
year? What are you talking about?
They play 1-10 Southeast Oklahoma.
How are
State
you going to
and 3-0 Arkansas
speculate
Tech.
that they're going to have a turnaround year? What do you know about them?
I don't know anything about them, but
Oh
I'm just
my
saying,
god.
if these teams beat the other teams that they play and lose to Tarleton State, that could make Tarleton State look like a good team when it's all said and done. But my point being said, the New Mexico State program has had very few years to shine down upon, but an undefeated season is undefeated season, Marshall. I mean, you got to consider one of the great teams of all time, honestly, in New Mexico State.
I mean, Well, okay. So to revisit your Tarleton State, so right now they're getting whipped 10-3.
That's not,
A minute and a
that's
half
biased.
left.
That's
A
biased.
minute and a half left in the second. But you know what? It looks like from the little ESPN graphic, it looks like they're driving because I think they just got to the 10-yard line. So I think
Okay, exactly.
they may come here to tie it up. I don't
Don't sleep
know.
on the Texans. Those are the
I
real
don't
Texans right there.
know. You know what I just realized? You know who the quarterback of McNeese State is?
Who?
Cody Orgeron, son of college
Okay,
football
yeah,
head
I heard
coach
about that.
Ed Orgeron.
Go Tigers. But
Oh, hold on,
hey,
dude. I just got some. Did this ESPN? It's playing some kind of wild sound in my headphones. I do not know where it's coming from. All right, there we go. There we go. Don't you just hate
well,
when it does that?
yeah.
I
I hate
swear. I
it,
swear.
but I'm saying like they're okay. Ignore. Okay, so let's not. Maybe let's overlook the D2 resume wins because that's going into who beat
Oh,
who
okay.
territory. My team's better than your team, but if you have a Dixie State team that beat a Kennesaw State team that made the playoffs and won their conference, they went 11-3 last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tarleton State, who say they beat McNeese State out of the Southland in their first game in FCS, and they split the Dixie State series and just absolutely dominate these Division II schools. Like, I mean, those are resume wins. And if New Mexico State is dominant, I'm not saying they scoop by these teams,
Maybe
but if they're
it may
dominant
be a
against these
resume
teams,
win if they were in Division 2. Even if they were FCS, you know what? That wouldn't even be a resume win.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, it's kind of strange this year with the shortened season for like a lot of schools. A lot of schools are like, kind of like padding their stats. Like it's the first time that we did this. Like, let's see, I know Ball State won their first conference championship since '96. That's not cheapening their experience at all.
Sure.
But I mean, you still have to like think about it. Take it with a grain of salt. Sort of. I mean, all due respect to Ball State, I love what they did this year, but it's just like some teams' windows open up, like we talked about last time, and I don't think you put an asterisk around this season because an unbeaten season, it's hard to go undefeated. It's hard to have 3-game win streaks, Marshall. It's very hard.
Oh, you're right. It's really hard to have 3-game win streaks against Division 2 opponents. You're right. You're right.
Hey, I'm just gonna say right now,
You know
while you're
what? You know what? Cleveland High School could probably go out there, field a team against Highlands or Tarleton State or McNeese, and they could probably play it competitive.
no, I think you're grandstanding right now. I really think that's a huge grandstand. Like I'm not gonna say a high school team can be competitive against a Division II, much less an FCS team.
Look, if there are real people employed by ESPN allowed to make the argument that Alabama could beat the Jets or the Jaguars or whoever the bottom team in the NFL is, then I'm allowed to make the statement that high school team or play with a T2 team. I'm just allowed to do it.
Yeah, sorry, Marsh. You kind of broke up a bit there, having a little bit of
Who's
technical
here? I don't know if you can
difficulties.
hear me or not.
Yeah.
Hello?
But yeah, can you please just repeat
You there? You there?
repeat the statement that you said?
I said if there are people that are employed by ESPN allowed to make the argument that any college team is on the same level of like the Jets or the Jaguars or the Browns or whoever that bottom team is, right? Then I am most definitely allowed to make the statement that a high school team can stay on the field with a D2 team. That's just how it's gonna go. Okay.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean you have a point, man.
Look, I
You
don't
have a
care.
point.
Don't pull up any yearbook. I don't want you to look at none of those freshmen. Okay. We're gonna
I don't have any.
assume here. We're gonna assume that if any freshmen are in this game, okay, we're gonna assume that they're at least the level of a senior. Otherwise, they wouldn't be playing, right? So
Yeah.
we're gonna say, physically speaking, maybe after 4 years of weightlifting, a good high school team, like maybe not even Cleveland High School. Okay, let's say your perennial powers. Let's say like a Booker T. Washington. Let's say like a Katie. All right, we're gonna talk some perennial powers. I bet they could stay on the field against the D2 team. You know what? I'm gonna throw this out there. How about this? A Katie, or like whoever that number one team is. All right. I would love to see one of them get on the field with your D2 team. I think they might have a chance. Because think about it. Most of those kids are probably going D1.
I mean that's fair. I'm not gonna get into the semantics of that argument. I'm just gonna let it stand. You're gonna let it simmer. But again, we'll disagree to disagree. I think you can't underestimate with the state of New Mexico State football through the past 60 years, 60 plus years, that this would be one of the better seasons when New Mexico State fans would look back. Let's say you remember that season of 2021, the spring season when we went undefeated. Like they're gonna have toast just like the 72 Dolphins have every year for when a New Mexico State team goes undefeated, for when a New Mexico
Oh
State
my
team loses
god.
and
Oh my
continues its
god.
unbeaten streak for New Mexico State. Like they're gonna have a toast every year, like the 72 Dolphins, but
You know what
they're
the sad
losing
thing will
every year.
be? The sad thing will be that I agree with you in the fact that it'll be one of the best New Mexico State seasons because they just don't have good seasons.
Yeah. You know,
It's not going to be because this is a good season. It's going to be because that team just always sucks. I mean, that's just the way it is.
hey, hopefully Mario Mocha does not watch this because if we have him on the podcast, like I would want to have Mario Mocha AD in New Mexico State. He'd come at your jugular, Marshall, for all
Your
these.
good friend.
He's not my friend. I've never spoken to him. Yeah, he answered one question of mine anonymously on an AMA that he went on Reddit, and I still remember it.
Well, he did a little Ask FM.
No, not anonymously, but I had like the random Reddit username, and he answered my question, but not a good friend. Moving topics. So, sadly, the MEAC suspended their spring season, which shows really the many questions people have about should we do a spring football season, um, and I know there's people on the fence, but something that comes to mind here is why not have a spring celebration bowl as the SWAC is not participating. Curiously enough, in the FCS playoffs, as their championship game will be May 1st when the playoffs would have already happened, already started by that time. Um, and the MEAC only has three schools playing. So I guess it would be cheapened. The celebration will be cheapened if you have three teams coming out of the MEAC versus however many teams are in the SWAC, especially with Alcorn State. I think the three-time defending. Let's see, they won in 2017, they won in 2018, they won in 20. The three-time defending Celebration Bowl champs. So I just want to know your thoughts, Marshall. Like, I don't think it's gonna happen, but do you would you think a Celebration Bowl in the spring would be a good idea, or should they just try for
I
the
definitely
winter?
think it'd be a good. I think more is better. And like more games is better than fewer games. Like I think regardless, it's just like the Celebration Bowl. It's got so much history. It'd be interesting. You played in the spring. That'll be a historical event of this historic game, right? And then you're going to get two teams in there. And no matter what, it's like those teams are going to want to play in it. It's not going to be like some kind of throwaway game, right? Like that's a good game that these teams they want to be in. Like I don't care if the season is shorter. I don't care if it's not as valid in that sense. Like they're going to play hard. They're going to get two teams in there. I don't care if those two teams are even the teams that would be in there if it was a full season, right? I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I don't.
Yeah, no, the thing that I have about it is like the Celebration Bowl. I'd love to see it too, but the Celebration Bowl is the HBCU national title game. So like, how much of a national title game is it if you have one conference, the SWAC, and then one conference with three teams playing on the other side? So,
I mean,
that's
we
what I
talked
have
about
about it. Oh no, go ahead.
yeah. I mean, we talked about this like a couple weeks ago. Like like the history of this game, like in recent memory at least, is that it's a little bit lopsided, right? I mean,
Yeah. Alcorn State's been in the bowl game four times, and they've won three of the four times. They've won three times in a row, and I don't think it's good for the bowl game, but we'll just have to see what happens in the future.
exactly. Like what? It's the fact that it's going to be like a three-team conference versus like a full conference. That doesn't really matter. Like the game has been lopsided. It's still you don't play it or you don't watch it and you don't play it to like watch Alabama versus Clemson. And that's not the point of the game. The point of the game is you get two teams in there who are like this HBCU classic game, right? And they're playing for more than the game itself. That's the point, I think, at least a little bit of the game, right? And so it's like by playing, just by the mere fact of playing it, you're kind of embodying those values, right? And so by representing that, I think that's just a net positive. Like it's not like there's going to be any negative from playing that game. Like you're not going to get like no matter like I said, it's like no matter what team gets in there, that's a meaningful game for those players. They want to do it and they want to compete.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I don't think you can put an asterisk. Maybe you can, but to the players, the administrations that do it, that end up playing the game, if it does happen, in the very slim chance it does happen, there wouldn't be the asterisk in their hearts. I will say, something that people tend to do is attach the value of HBCU football to the bands, and due to COVID, you probably would not be able to bring the bands there, which takes away the allure of the game. Sadly enough, because I mean,
Sure.
there's some guys that can ball in HBCUs. I mean, Darius Leonard, rookie of the year for the Colts, South Carolina State. Tariq Cohen, Pro Bowler out of Chicago, out of NCA&T, who balled out in the first ever Celebration Bowl. I mean, there's dudes that can ball. Watch for the players. You know, the bands are great, but watch the players. But that would take. I will admit that will take away some of the luster of it. But I mean, who cares? Like you said, it's just another game. It's got a lot of pageantry as it is, and it's a national championship game. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of things this year have obviously been kind of cut back in terms of pageantry. It's like you're not going to have like a Rose Bowl parade, right? Like you're not going to have these kinds of things that you might look forward to with the game, but the game itself is still every bit as meaningful, in my opinion, right? Like it's going to be sad to miss that one bit, but it's like having that one bit is better than having no bits.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think with the three teams out of the MEAC, they have a lot to earn through a Celebration Bowl berth. Just some facts and figures here, really quick, that I pulled out last night. So Delaware State, one of the three teams playing the MEAC, they just released their schedule today. They're going to play Howard twice and South Carolina State twice. And on April 10th, they'll be playing Delaware at home for the first time ever. They've played Delaware only 9 times, surprisingly, all on the road in Newark. But they'll be hosting Delaware for the first time ever. So a very unique schedule, due to COVID. But they have 2 all-time bowl appearances: the 1946 Flower Bowl in Jacksonville, where they played Florida normal, and I forget what the I stands for. And Florida N&I, interestingly enough, now Florida Memorial University out of the NAIA, who just continue their program after 60 years. But they played Florida Memorial in the 1947 Flower Bowl. That's their last bowl win. They appeared in the 1977 Orange Blossom Classic and lost to Florida A&M. So they'd be going for their first bowl win since '47. Maybe another sign for me. if the Celebration Bowl does happen, now that both conferences aren't playing in the playoffs. Howard, on the other hand, they haven't had a bowl win since '74, or actually they haven't had a bowl win since '95. Excuse me. They've only played in 3 bowls, twice in the Orange Blossom Classic in '33 and '74, once in the Heritage Bowl in '95, which they beat. I think they beat Southern. I kind of whiffed right there on the I put it down. I put that they beat Howard, which is they can't beat themselves in the bowl game. So I'm looking that up really quick. They beat they beat Southern, the Jaguars, and then South Carolina State's made 13 bowl appearances, the last 97 in the Heritage Bowl. I forgot to mention that Delaware State has made another Heritage Bowl due to me playing through Dynasty Mode season with winning the Heritage Bowl on my own. So mark that down, the 99 Heritage Bowl virtually. But I mean, these teams, this could be a historic moment for these teams.
God, dude, there's gonna be like a new record for like most amount of hours consecutively played on a video game on this new NCAA game comes out.
No, I mean, I'm excited. I'm so excited. Like I didn't think about buying a PS5 or Xbox X series, but I mean that's all I needed to hear.
Is it gonna be on the new consoles only?
Maybe by the time it comes out. I mean, I feel like
you might be right.
PS4 will be phased out, but I mean, I can wait. I can wait. It's already been 7 years. I can wait. But yeah, I mean, a bit of a shorter podcast here.
Omar, real quick.
Yeah.
How about what is your hat, dude? I've been seeing that bird on it, but what exactly is the bird?
So it's a Baltimore Orioles '90s logo. Just
I like that.
The less cartoony bird. I was actually watching Seinfeld for Seinfeld fans that are listening and watching. And I was watching the episode where Elaine Bennis gets kicked out of the Yankees game for fighting with the security guard who tried to tell her to take off her Orioles hat. And then I was like, man, I gotta have that hat.
That's so funny.
That bird's nice.
Omar, who's your favorite Seinfeld character?
I'm a huge either Kramer or George Costanza.
Why are you exactly a huge Kramer fan?
I like Kramer in the show because he's very chaotic. I'm not gonna mention anything
in the show specifically, or
in the show specifically.
Gotcha.
Stuff that he did after is highly deplorable. So
Gotcha.
I'm not gonna talk about that, Mark.
Okay.
You're not gonna provoke me.
Okay. I mean, I was just curious because Kramer is also one of my favorite characters.
That's good. He's funny. He's
a
funny character.
Yeah, he has some good comedy too.
Yeah, he does.
He has a good comedy career.
Yeah, I mean, before Seinfeld, he did. So before this turns into a Seinfeld podcast, I think we'll get ready to sign off. Marshall, do you have anything that's not Kramer related to say before you?
Well, we're at halftime right now. Tarleton McNeese 10-10. They tied it
Did
up.
you find a stream or?
No, I'm just on ESPN. I got their little box score stuff up. Yeah.
For the record, I did not. That's off the record. I did not ask for an illegal stream on this podcast. Do not note that.
Well, I mean, I don't think anyone thought you did ask for that, so I don't know where that was
Okay.
coming from, but
Okay, all right. Just making sure. I gotta make sure. But until next time, New Mexico State's first game is next week, so we'll be rooting for the Aggies. I'll be rooting for the Aggies, and just
I'll be rooting for them, but I won't be acknowledging that it's the greatest season of all time, or even for the Aggies. But
okay, I mean, yeah. So we'll agree to disagree. I want to be a part of history, and I'm just gonna say that. Marsh, anything else to say?
I will say that the history of playing in the spring is already made, and there will be no history recorded on the fact if they go 3-0. There will be no history to recommend them as a undefeated team in the history of college football. No one will acknowledge that.
Arguably, they can claim a national championship, but
nobody will acknowledge that. You would be the only one. You would be literally the only one who ever said that.
I'll come to the parade if they claim a national championship.
Oh my god.
But until next time.
Or they're gonna have a parade on what? They're gonna have a parade down I-25 or something? Like what? What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do?
I don't have to come back for that.
Unbelievable.
Come back. So I'll just come back with this.
They're gonna have a little team outing at White Sands. What? Give me a break. Give me a break.
Until next time, peace, love, and soul, everyone.